Before we get started, Talk Music Talk has a newsletter, a weekly email featuring the current week's guests, plus what past guests are up to. Also, I'll tell you about shows I've attended and new music that I like. To sign up, head on over to talkmusictalk.com, click on the link, subscribe to newsletter, and you are all set. That's talkmusictalk.com. And now for today's episode. Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Talk Music Talk with Boys. I am Boys. This is my podcast. Thank you for checking it out. Talk Music Talk is a weekly music interview podcast where I have long-form discussions with people who are connected to music from different genres and different backgrounds, musicians, singers, singer-songwriters, music therapists, music journalists. And on this episode, I had the pleasure of talking to Marc Cantone and his band, The City and Horses. It is his band project. He is a singer-songwriter based here in New York, originally from South Jersey, and he makes great music as The City and Horses and a cast of other musicians. Debut album came out in 2009. New album, Ruins, just came out earlier this year. Fourth album, It Is Wonderful. You should check it out. You will hear some music after the conversation from it. A great conversation where Marc and I talk about his balancing his day job with his music. We also talk about his influences and his songwriting process. And as I mentioned, you will hear two from Ruins, Shades and Berlin. Ruins deals with Marc's OCD, which he talks about candidly in our conversation. If you like your pop smart, you will love the music of The City and Horses. Here it is, without further ado, my conversation with Marc Cantone, The City and Horses, on Talk Music Talk. Enjoy. Your day job, you work with writing kids' music, right?
Yeah, it's part of my job.
Okay, part of your job is, and I'm curious, like when you're writing for kids' music, how do you know when you're no longer a kid, what works for a kid?
Well, the stuff I write for kids, the music is actually very similar to what I write for the adult, for my band. And because I think that's one, because I like very simple songs and simple melodies that are just catchy and easy to remember, and kids love that. There are a couple tricks to it. Well, the thing that separates my adult songs from my kids' songs is basically just the lyrics. Yeah. For kids, they love repetition, lyrical repetition, and melodic repetition. So a lot of the stuff I write for kids, I repeat a lot of the same phrases, and it's very it suits the audience very well. Yeah. They really enjoy the repetition of a melody, and it works in pop music in general, just because that's how you get a hook in someone's head. Yeah. Except I might do it it's a little much when I do it for kids stuff, but it's still the same. Like I don't write like nursery rhyme types of songs for kids. I write like indie pop songs for kids. Okay, so like for kids, it may be would it be a subject matter of a song? Kindness. Okay. So I wrote the song called "Kindness Is a Muscle." And I recorded it with a producer that I record my City and Horses project with, and in Williamsburg, and we made this super cool little synth pop track. We had kids come in and sing the song, and shot a music video with it with this awesome production company from Williamsburg, and it's doing great. It has like almost 1 million plays on YouTube. Oh, really? And, nice. Kids are uploading their own videos of themselves singing it. And it's catching on. Once the message is really nice, it's all about being kind, which is, we really need that now.
Adults need that.
Yeah, adults need that. I mean, that's actually the point of the song. It's a kid-led kindness song. So the song is like, it's like grown-ups. One of the lines is grown-ups follow our lead. Wait, no, crap! I can't remember my own song. But it's basically about kids telling grown-ups that, well, look how we act. Yeah, we're kind, and follow our lead. We're not going to follow your lead. And if we are going to follow your lead, you better be kind because we mimic you. Yeah. So that's like, but otherwise, I actually really like that track musically. Is like I probably would have written that for my own band. Okay.
So we may hear it later in a different version.
Yeah. I don't know. That's owned by the company now.
Okay. Do you have to like test it out on kids beforehand?
No, not really. I just go with it. I mean, I have a good sense now of what kids respond to, and I don't really overthink it. Mm-hmm. I just come up with some funny lines and some good lines, and then keep it very simple. Mm-hmm. Like I just wrote this one song it's for summer, and it's about it's just about a summer anthem song, just like, you know, but it's like a super, just it's one hook that just repeats, and the lyrics, it's a rap. I do a lot of raps because kids like raps. Yeah. So there's a lot of I do a lot of raps and songs. So it's usually like there's usually like a hook and then a rap.
Okay.
That's like recently that's what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm. So you have to be very melodic too for kids, which is naturally in your own music.
Right.
Okay. So I guess it would be a natural fit to do kids music too.
Yeah, it does fit really well, and I love doing it. I really do.
Does it help any with your own, like with the adult stuff?
Yeah, I think like it helps when you can simplify a song and not overthink it. I mean, my type of music doesn't really require overthinking. It's not like Radiohead or prog rock or something. It's you know, pop music and I love you. I read a description of, you wrote something and I can't remember what it was for, but it was a description of what you consider pop music to be. And it's not, you know, the Billboard charts. Yeah. It's all about melody and I forget what you wrote, but the way you explained it is the way that I talk about pop music. Okay. It's not pop music.
I wonder who I was talking about. I haven't been quoted.
Yeah. It was basically saying that, you know, pop music doesn't just mean like, you know, a Taylor Swift song. It means the way you approach a song and the way you write it, the melody, the simplicity, the hooks. That's like pop music to me. Doesn't matter that it's popular. It's just the style.
And that's the thing, because I've interviewed people where it's almost a guilt and like it's too pop, or there's something wrong with being too melodic. Yeah. And like trying to wrestle with that. Did you ever have to wrestle with that? Like this is too pop, too hooky?
Well, it's just because I don't have like my voice. I don't have this awesome voice. So no matter what I do, it's not going to sound pop. Yeah. I mean, it'll have a hook and melody and a catchy chorus and stuff, but it's not going to be like, I don't sing with like a vibrato. I have like an indie rock voice, so it's never going to sound. No matter how hard I try, you're not going to listen to it and be like, this is Justin Timberlake or something.
Well, when did you discover that you had you could write catchy hooks?
I mean, I've been writing songs since I was 13.
Oh, really? Okay.
So it was just like, that's all I've done.
It's a natural thing.
Yeah, since I was a kid. So and it's what I have to do, like therapeutically for my own well-being. It's just, I just have to write songs. Yeah.
Was guitar your first instrument?
Actually, I learned drums first.
Okay.
And I can play drums, but I'm not like a drummer, but I can play with like an indie rock band. Okay. But like, I can't get behind a kid and you know, hang with some cats.
You're not going to be at the Blue Note or
something. No. I'd love to be a cat. You know, I'd love to be like, I know guys and girls, like girls in my band are like real players. Some of the guys in my band are real players. And I just love jazz musicians. I just can't do it. Yeah. But I'd love to be a jazz guy and just go and just, hey man, come up and play. And just like,
that's
just
wonderful.
Be able to play with whatever. I'd love to do that, but I can't.
Because I've seen groups where there's someone I interviewed, Sarah Charles and her band, the three musicians never met. They rehearsed that day and then performed that night.
Really?
And it was just like you would have never known.
Right. That's the thing. I mean, we have a lot of guys like, so our band there's like 6 people in the band, and 2 of the members live in Philly, our bass player and drummer, and they can't come up a lot for like especially weeknight gigs. Yeah. So I bring in other musicians I know who are like pros, and the guys down in Philly are pros, but you know they're not full-time musicians. You know, one of them's a professor, teaches music and recording. Yeah. The other one works at a college. So I have to bring in subs sometimes to play, and these guys are like pros. Yeah. And my buddy Chuck, he was actually our first drummer. He's a major pro. He he plays on tour with RJD2. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
And like, so it's like RJD2 spinning turntables and my buddy Chuck playing live kit. And it's like, so, and like this guy's like Chuck and he's a couple other people that we play with can come in and just with one practice or not even a practice and just play the songs just by listening to them one time.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, and those are pros. I can't do that.
So what made you pick up the guitar? And what age was that?
The Beatles.
Okay, the Beatles.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you picked it up?
13.
Okay, so you started like right when...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I always wanted to write song. The first song I wrote was about John Lennon. So, yeah.
So, because a lot of times people want to play just to do covers of other people's songs, but you knew right away that you wanted to
I wanted to write, but
write your own stuff.
Yeah, but we played covers though. Like my band in high school all we played was Nirvana and Green Day songs.
Yeah.
We go to parties and play like 50 songs, literally 50 songs, and then be Nirvana and Green Day. Okay. So like that's what we did. And then we started writing our own songs, original songs. They weren't any good. Maybe some of them were okay, but it's just we played covers. But I didn't get into music to like meet girls or anything.
Okay.
And it doesn't work. Everyone always says, "Oh, you must meet so many girls," and I've really only ever, got with a girl or whatever that means. I only ever went on dates with like 3 girls I met for music.
Okay. So that's a lie, dude. And
what's that?
It's a lie about the whole.
Well, maybe I just don't do it right. I don't know. So, but yeah, I have a girlfriend now, but I didn't meet her through
music.
I met her through Bumble.
Okay. Or what? Pinterest. You met Pinterest.
I don't do Pinterest. I don't know how to do it.
I couldn't get into Pinterest. I've tried.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so when was the first song you wrote where you're like, okay, this is pretty good?
That's a good question. Like when I was like a senior in high school, I started writing decent songs, and I actually have them somewhere. But yeah, I think that's when I really started writing good songs. So that was my senior year of high school.
Okay. And you knew you wanted to have a band, like a band doing your own stuff?
Yeah. I mean, all through high school, I had a band, and then there was like a band with a great friend of mine, and we would play our own songs. But I didn't really pursue music until like 2000, like really 2007, and I really started to like really get into like trying to do my own stuff in a meaningful way.
Okay. And what was it about the Beatles that you like so much? The melody?
Just the melodies and the way their voices and just everything. I was just obsessed. I just go home after school every day and listen to my dad's records. Yeah. And just be blown away. I mean, it's everybody. I mean, everyone had that, I think.
Yeah.
Anybody who loves music, though there are people who don't like the Beatles, I think they're just trying to be difficult.
Or indirectly they like the Beatles through someone else.
Right. So, but it's just the melodies and just something about and the way the sound of their voices. They're so idiosyncratic. Like you can tell John Lennon sing, you can tell McCartney sing. And that's like the mark of like a great. I don't know if it's a great singer, but like you can always tell Dylan singing, or Kurt Cobain or whatever.
So, was there anyone else like musically that you were turned on to?
Well, I mean, and what really got me writing my own songs was there's this band from the '90s, indie rock band called Sebadoh.
Okay, yeah.
And Lou Barlow recorded these really just super lo-fi songs on a 4-track recorder, and that's what got me into recording on 4-track. Okay. And so his songs were so simple, and the sound quality sucked and whatever. So that's really what got me into like writing music on my own in like a serious way. Okay. I'm like this dude's making these really cool songs, and it's just acoustic guitar and loud, drums and stuff, and just but recorded really badly. And that made me think, oh, I can do that too. Okay. Which is good. So what kind of 4-track were you? I had a Yamaha 4-track, and then I had a Tascam for a while. and then I upgraded when there was like a digital roll-in that came out that recorded the zip disk, and I did that for a while, and then I went to Pro Tools, and now it's like I don't have any room to have any type of recording setup, so I just do demos on my phone and GarageBand.
You've come a long way. All right. So where was this at? Where are you from?
I'm from South Jersey, outside Atlantic City.
Okay. And did you go to school after high school?
Yeah, I went to college in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then I moved to New York after college.
Where'd you go to college for?
I went to this college called University of the Arts.
Okay.
It's an art school.
Okay. And what'd you go for?
I went for screenwriting, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Screenwriting. What was why not music?
Because, well, one, it's like a super jazz head school, and like
as we discussed,
and I can't read music. I don't know notation, and so I'm just not like I don't have the chops.
Yeah,
the music chop, the
acumen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can play guitar and write songs, but I can't like shred or anything.
Yeah. So what was it about screenwriting you were interested in?
I just love film and TV and writing and comedy. So that's just, I didn't even want to go to college. I didn't know what I would even do. I mean, I did terribly on my SATs but I got into that and it was great. It was an awesome program. And so it set me off into my current life and working in television.
Okay. Were you like buying time?
What's that?
Buying time by going to college?
No. I actually, no, I knew specifically. It's like, I wanted just to work in film and TV.
Okay.
So it's like, I wasn't like, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. But actually, no, so that's not entirely, so I was actually planning to take a year off and focus on the band.
Yeah.
After college.
Okay.
And then that wasn't a good idea. So I went to college instead.
Okay.
But I always knew I wanted to like work in film or TV.
And how far off were you from graduating to when 2007 when you started taking the music seriously?
I graduated college in 2001.
Okay.
I'm old. And then for, between that time, I was always writing songs and stuff. But I was working on my film projects and writing. During this time I was releasing like my own like MP3 album. So like I would like put up, I had like it wasn't WordPress at that time. What was it? It was some blog site, and I would just, I'd record 10 songs and that's an album, and I'd upload it.
Okay.
And you can probably still find them online somewhere. But yes, I was writing all this time, and then when I moved to New York, and then I broke up with my girlfriend, and I moved back home for like a year, and that's when I started. That was like in 2004, 2005, and I wrote like dozens and dozens of songs about that breakup.
Okay.
And then a year later, I moved back to New York, and I met this guy named Neil LaPuma, who's like a really great friend of mine now, who ran a small label called White Shoe Records.
Okay.
And he's like, you got to put a band together and record a proper album. And so I did it with him. I put a band together, recorded a proper album, and that's when this incarnation of The City and Horses started.
So that first album was The City and Horses?
Yeah, but I was releasing stuff as The City and Horses since like 2004.
Okay. But that was when it came out in 2008, that was like the first official.
Yeah.
Okay.
2009. Yeah.
2009. So what made you like do the group name as opposed to your own
The City
name?
and Horses was the name of a screenplay I wrote in college.
Okay.
And I just thought it was a cool sounding name.
Yeah, it is.
Like I don't. It has it basically is just like, I think it's an interesting juxtaposition. Horses in a city, and it's really it.
Yeah, I like it.
And I think I had it before the group, The City in Color. I think I had the name The City and Horses before The City in Color. Just saying.
Did it take a lot for you to get to do the project? Like you're in the mindset of it, or you've been wanting to do it, but like properly?
It just took a little prodding. That's really all. It just took a little, just like someone saying, you should do this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, yeah, I should do this.
And what was it about him?
He's just one of the greatest guys in the world.
Yeah.
and I actually work with him. So he has his own side project. He's a businessman by day, but by night he writes these insanely awesome indie songs. And his project's called Scares the Daylights.
Okay.
And so he and I and another woman named Katie Ender basically have this little band, and we'll go into the practice space and record and write these songs, and then we'll go into a studio. And we've recorded 4 albums together.
Okay.
And it's really fun for me because I'm not writing the songs, so I get to play drums, I get to play keyboards, I write guitar lines, I play bass, I do all this fun stuff, and the pressure's not on me to sing or write the songs, so it's a lot of fun. So Neil's just an awesome guy who just likes to inspire people to do stuff.
So what was the first album like the whole process of putting it together?
The first album was a collection of songs that I had written about the breakup with that girlfriend, and then newer songs. Okay. So half the songs were older, like a couple years old, and half of them were newer ones that I had written. And it's the process then is still pretty much the same now. I'd write the songs and record the demos, and then have the band come in and then learn the songs and flesh it out a little bit. And we recorded it at the same studio with the same producer that I recorded all the albums with. The studio has moved locations, but it's the same people. Okay. And it's the Bunker Studio. And I work with Aaron Navisi. And he and I just work really well together. We recorded this song for Sprout. We recorded the Kindness song together. Okay. So...
And for you, how does the songwriting work? Melodies come first, lyrics together?
And I usually get like a line, like a lyrical line, and then I'll just start strumming or messing around on a keyboard or something, just very simply. And the best stuff just happens like without even thinking about it. A song could be like written in like 10 minutes. Yeah. Actually, Neil and I had a project called 1 Minute Music where we would have 20 minutes to write and record a song that couldn't be more than a minute long. Yeah. And so we did that, and we had like a little website for it. And a few songs that I put on albums came from that, in like the songs that I wrote in like 20 minutes. And when you have those constraints, those creative constraints, I think are good sometimes. When you have too much freedom, you can just, just wander and wander. But if you have to get something done in a certain amount of time, it forces you to just make choices and go with it. And so, for me, it's sometimes I don't like to overthink songs, and because I think you can tell when a song is forced. Like there are some songs that I've on albums that we've done, and I just don't really like because I work too hard on them. Okay, like they just feel forced.
Is there, because when I hear your music, I think like the lyrics are very literary. So is there like a lot of reading, a certain type of reading, inspiration from books?
No,
or it just looks that way?
No, I don't. I mean,
because they're smart. They're very.
Thank you. That's really nice of you to say. I really appreciate that. No, I don't take any like literary cues. I mean, a lot of it is just basically. I don't know. No, I don't really get. Okay, that's not true. Okay,
here we go.
You're right. I have a bunch of influences, musical influences, obviously, and then there's some songwriter influences I have. Like and you would never really guess this from listening to my music, but I'm a big fan of the British playwright and songwriter named Noel Coward. Okay, and Noel Coward, he's been gone for 45 years or whatever, and he started writing songs in the 1920s. Yeah, but he's had, for some reason, he's a very he's been a big influence on me lyrically. The way he writes these very intricate rhymes that I could never even come close to reaching, but he's like one of the greatest songwriters ever. And the subject matter is, on the surface, you would think it's about high society and very British, but he's a very personal songwriter, and his songs are, even though he wrote them for other people to sing, there's like an emotion behind his songs. Okay, and then they're just lyrically just some of the best lyrics ever written. So he's been an influence on me from a lyrical perspective, and also Stuart Murdoch from Belle and Sebastian is like one of my biggest idols and influences. And go back to Morrissey and Pavement and all the bands that I really love have a lyrical bent to them.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Does the screenwriting, did that kind of take place into the lyrics?
I would think so. Just innately giving me just a sense of structure or story without it. But I don't really sit down and try to write like like Dylan would, write these ballads or like could be, read as poetry or whatever. Yeah. I don't really write like that. Or I don't approach writing like that. But I guess I have some type of innate sense of story that just comes out.
Okay. And going back to the albums, like as you're going to, before we get to the newest album, for the second album, third album, were there like different goals or intentions for those albums that you say you didn't reach for the first one?
Yes, like the second album, I wanted it to be the first album was very guitar guitar driven, very twee pop, little twee pop, a little country-ish. So the next one I wanted to be a little more quirky and weird. So we did a lot of like fun studio tricks and making our own samples and recording. Like there's a song called "We Will Never Be Discovered," and the drum kit isn't a drum kit played live. It's like every beat is different. So we did the kick drum by itself, and then we quantized stuff, and so we did it, and we mixed it with organic instruments and things. So, and then it's just a natural progression of just things that are going on in my world that I then write about. Yeah.
Is it hard for you to write the personal stuff?
No, because that's really it's really all that I write about. I very rarely write a story song about other people or about other things. I mean, I have, and I like doing that, but most of the stuff I write is basically about how pathetic I am, how I'm not where I want to be, or why. What's wrong with me? And nobody likes me. Boo-hoo. I don't really
stuff
say
we all feel from time to time.
And that's when I really. That's just where I go. That's why I say it's therapeutic. That's like when I go, and it's just it's also a product of just the bands that I grew up listening to and loving, and like the Smiths and Belle and Sebastian and Trembling Blue Stars and the Field Mice. All these bands that I love are very personal lyrics or just lyrics about being isolated and I connect with those, and so I like to write stuff like that. I don't really generally, and I'm trying to think of story songs. There are story songs that I've written, but generally the songs are just about me, and
Which brings us to album number 4.
Yeah.
Okay. How long has that been in the works? Ruins.
Well, it's been done for a long time. It was done in August of last year. It was mastered in August of last year, and it was mixed in like June of last year. It just took a while to work things out, to get a plan together with our label Paper Garden, and who we've released 3 albums with. The first album was with Neil's record label, White Shoe. So it's been done a while, and I'm just glad to have it out, and so I can just start working on other stuff. But yeah, the songs some of them are like 2 years old now, and there were ones that I was writing up until like we were finished recording. So some are a little fresher than others.
So when you were putting together this collection of songs, what did you want to say?
Well, this album is about it's a mix of things. So everything I've written over the last 8 years has been about. I've started recently talking about. I have issues with anxiety disorders and specifically OCD, and it's basically taken over my whole life the last 8 years. Okay. So like a very insidious way that it affects everything I do, including writing songs. So there are songs like on the last album, Strange Range, was mostly about OCD. This album, and you wouldn't really know it by listening to the songs. There's a song called Whip on the album that basically sounds like it's a song like some type of like sadomasochistic relationship with a girl. But it's not really about a relationship with a girl. It's a relationship with OCD, and OCD is very sadomasochistic.
Okay.
You really put yourself through a lot of unnecessary shit, but you do it to yourself. And then this album is about a breakup with a girl, and the relationship that OCD played in it.
Okay.
So like OCD affects everything I do, and so that would that's the reason that would affect my relationships.
Yeah.
And so this album is basically about how OCD ruined this relationship and also things that were going on in my life. So all of these songs, barring the single Shades, are pretty much about that.
Yeah. And what made you start talking about it?
There are a few people that I know who've talked about it, who are professionals. Like actually, I know Howie Mandel pretty well, and he's made. He's obviously ultra famous, and he's talked about his struggles with OCD. There's also an author named Charles Barber who's written books about his OCD, and has become like an advocate for it. But he's just like he teaches at Wesley, and he's like a very well known, respected nonfiction writer, and he talks about it just like you would talk about anything. Yeah, and so I figure, why not share a little bit more about it? Maybe we're not very well known, but maybe if there's a kid out there that is struggling with OCD and listens to some of these songs and gets it, and also I'm just tired of hiding it. Not that there's anyone to hide it from, but it just gives context to a lot of the stuff that I do.
Okay. Was there like a little shame around it? Or,
yeah, it's embarrassing. It's not something that people talk about, and if they do talk about it, they think it's like the hand washing and like the organizing your desk and all that stuff. And that is a part of it for a lot of people, but it's really not like what most people with OCD go through. Okay. It's much more than just having to wash your hands a lot or keeping things neat. It's like controlling, ruining your life, and I know a lot of people who have OCD who are who can't work and just can't really do much of anything. So
it's on a spectrum.
It's
a spectrum of how bad
the severity varies. Some people have it way worse than others. Some people can manage it much better. Some people can't. So
you've always had it, or?
Since I've been like a teenager.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's only gotten really bad in the last 8 years. Okay. So.
And how did it present itself as a teenager?
As a teenager, it was just something happened. That's the thing. I don't even like to talk it. So it's like, I can talk about it, but I don't talk about the specifics because I still have it. Okay. Like I liken OCD to an addiction. And to me, it's the metaphor is very apt because an addict, like somebody with OCD, needs to get that fix. Okay. And for an OCD person, the fix is a relief from anxiety. For a drug user, say it's heroin, the fix is getting that hit. Yeah. But each time you go back to get that hit, the potency wears off. Okay. So if you have OCD, you do a ritual, and that feels great. You don't do it for a week. And then it comes back and you do it again. And if you get a hit, you go, that feels great. You don't need to do it every day. But by the time as the OCD progresses, as the addiction progresses, the more you do it, the less effect it has. So you end up needing that hit every day, multiple times a day, dozens and hundreds of thousands of times a day. And so by the end, you just become like this junkie and start just trying to get that fix, trying to get that hit of relief. And so for me, I'm I'm not a recovering addict yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not really able to talk about it as with some distance yet.
So how do you manage it, or are you able to manage it?
I've just been, it makes just things needlessly difficult. But I do lots of stuff, and I have a great job, and I force myself to do things.
Yeah.
But it's it just makes everything more difficult than it should be, than it needs to be.
Okay. So is this something like where you need to tap something a certain number of times, or
counting, that's not with me, but that's definitely something that people struggle with.
Okay. And how do you balance like having that in?
It's like living a double life. You have to satisfy your regular life, and then you have to satisfy your OCD life.
Okay. And
it's exhausting because you're doing, like, for me, it's like, even like right now, I'm thinking two things at once.
Okay.
So it's exhausting, but it's it's a anxiety disorder that can really take over your thinking. Yeah.
Well, I admire you for speaking out about it. It's very brave, dude.
Thanks. Well, it's just something to get out there, that if maybe it could help other people talk about it, because it is a disorder that can isolate you, because it's embarrassing. You do things that you don't really want to do, and so just talking about it might help.
Yeah. Have you had any response from anyone yet who's heard you talk about it?
Yeah, actually, I've number of the interviews that I've done for it have picked up on that, and some of the interviewers have told me, they're like, I have issues too. Yeah. And it's really great you're talking about it, and it's something that people can connect with, because everybody has their shit. Yeah. Everybody has their fucked up shit in their heads going on. So I think it's like, it's okay to talk about stuff like that.
That's cool. And you were saying like you have two things in your mind right now. Like, what does that mean?
Well, there's our conversation, and then there's stuff, the OCD stuff going on that I'm trying to placate simultaneously. So it's a bit of like a dual dialogue. Dialogue going on in my head.
So you're never, I'll ask the question, are able to be like mindful, like truly mindful?
It's tough I've taken mindfulness courses and classes, but mindfulness is very tough because you have to focus on your breathing, and you're not supposed to push thoughts out of your head. You're supposed to let them come in, but then gently push them away. Or not push them away, just let them float away. Yeah. Let them just what do they say in mindfulness? Just to have thoughts, but without judgment.
Okay, got
it. So it's mindfulness is tough, but being present is a hard thing to be. In general, just for anybody, being present is hard.
Yeah, it is. So with the album, you're going to talk about that. Were you nervous about talking about it even more specifically?
A little bit, yeah. Like a little bit. But it's okay. I don't mind it. I think it actually it's just something that helps. It's just another something for more people to connect with.
Okay.
Like, I think that's what a lot of life is, just connecting to people on a deeper level. Yeah. And so that helps, just connecting with people, and I love connecting with people.
Yeah, great. And with the album, did you accomplish something with this album that you feel like you hadn't with the previous three albums?
I think this is a more cohesive album. I think it's like, it feels more feels more like a whole. Like they're like the previous albums. I love a lot of songs on them, but like I feel like they didn't connect. All the songs didn't connect. I feel like all the songs connect on this one.
Okay. So they were like a collection of singles before?
Yeah, pretty much. And then this one feels more like, there's more like a through line to it.
Okay. And I feel like we have to talk about your videos. Very creative. Like, are you coming up with the concepts? The
no, so I'm a video producer for a living, so I tend to not want to have any involvement with the videos we make, just because I feel like, I write the songs and sing them with the band and everything, so I feel like just let other people do it.
Yeah.
So we've had a bunch of videos made for us by this performance art duo out of France.
Okay.
And I can't say their names. It's this French name. It's basically, the translation is a workman and workwoman in French, whatever that translation is. And they've made like 4 or 5 videos for us, and they're crazy. They're actually working on a video for us now, which I've never met these people. They're friends of my ex-girlfriend, who's a French visual artist.
Yeah.
And they just made these videos for us. We've had some videos that were made by good friends of mine. There's a video for a song called 17 that my buddy Ed, who I work with, made. He directed that.
Yeah. And that's you in the club?
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you. That was all my buddy Ed, and it was also a lot of work done on it by the girl who inspired Ruins. Okay. We were seeing each other at that time, and she's in the video.
Okay. Does she know that?
Yeah, she knows. Okay. We're cool now. We're just friends now, and it's all good. But breakups go.
Yeah.
And so, she's in that video, and she helped produce it. And then we had another video for Re-inking, another buddy of mine who's like this. It was like a graphic whiz made that, and we have a couple of videos coming out that I worked with, and we shot one for the song Shades, and then we shot another one for the song Drag over the weekend, and we're shooting a little bit more for it this weekend. Okay. And these are these dudes from this company called Young Hearts Production, and they're both in a band called The Teenage, and they're out of Brooklyn.
Okay.
So,
is having the music videos a way to reach people since you're not doing a traditional touring with the band?
Yeah, it is, but it's hard. It's like everything is so hard to try to reach people. There's so much music. There's so many videos. It's just really tough. And because we don't tour, it's hard to reach people. And I don't even know, I don't even know if we toured, if that would really make much of a difference. Unless we were going out with a well-known band, we play shows with bands who are touring, and they come in and like no one's there. Yeah. So it's like, and it's a struggle, and you got to tour a lot to get a little back. Yeah. And so I just don't have the time with my job to do that. So, I just hope that people can find the music somehow through podcasts like this, through reviews, stumbling on it through YouTube
or Bandcamp.
Like
I did.
Yeah. So it's really just trying to get it out there as much as I can with the resources that I have.
Cool. And what do you have? You have the videos coming up. Any other plans musically?
I want to do like an EP of soul song covers. And in our style. I'm not going to get up and try to sing like a soul singer. Okay. We do a cover of this song called "Oh Girl" by the Shy Lights, and it's one of my favorite songs, and I love it. And we do it in our way. Yeah. Little funk, but not trying to be anything we're not. So I want to do like 4 or 5 songs. As an EP of covers.
I'm down with that. Do any kids album?
No, for you? No, I don't. I toyed with the idea of just putting new vocals over our other songs with kids focus, but I don't know. That you got to be in that. That's another game you got to be in. You got to be in it, and you got to hustle, and I just don't have the energy.
One hustle is enough sometimes.
Yeah, I know, right? Yes. So it's like, I'm not up for that hustle.
Yeah. Because someone was saying to me, oh, you need to do a blog too. I'm like, God, no, the podcast is enough.
Dude, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I don't think people realize.
Yeah, people don't.
Adding on more stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you should do this or that. Like, I want to do a lot. I mean, I want to do more, but between work and my other projects and like and the band, it's just
I hear you.
It's just a lot. But you know, the important thing is just to keep doing stuff. And if it's if somebody sees it and loves it, great. But I mean, I don't do any of this obviously for money. I definitely don't do it for money. I'll never make the money back that I've spent on this band unless we get like some huge placement. It's just not going to happen. But I don't care because it's just what I love to do.
Yeah. So well, that's great. Keep doing that, dude. Best place people can keep up to date online.
Facebook, Instagram. I use Instagram more just because Facebook, you know, if you have a Facebook page, you have to like pay to reach all your fans.
I know, isn't it ridiculous?
It's like, you know, you can reach maybe like a small percentage of your fans when they're doing a post, but you have to pay. So and I'm not going to pay for every post.
Yeah.
I think what they should do is charge the big corporations, anybody maybe with over, you know, 50,000 followers or whatever, but like prorated or like do it on a sliding list, doing it on a sliding scale. So if you're an indie band and you have, you know, 5,000 followers, okay, maybe we'll pay, but maybe charge like 25 cents or something. Yeah. And if you're, you know, Pepsi, charge them as much as you want. But I just don't think it's fair to charge bands, pay every post to reach all the because it's hard enough to get somebody to like your page. Yeah. And then you got to pay to get to so but now Facebook owns Instagram now, so I don't know if that's going to change things. Like, I use Instagram to like post stuff. Like when this comes out, I'll post a picture of you or whatever and say, you know, check out the link in above and check out this podcast because that'll get more people to see it than the Facebook post. Unless I pay to promote it.
Okay. And that's under your Instagram's under your name or?
It's the City and Horses. Everything's the City and Horses except for Twitter, which is just City and Horses because the City and Horses was too long.
Okay. And then Bandcamp is?
Just the City and Horses.
.bandcamp.com.
And then, you know, we have a website, thecityandhorses.com, where you can find stuff through. And
okay. I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Cool. I leave anything out, Mark?
I don't think so. Just no. Just thank you for taking the time. I mean, that's like I said, it's very important and encouraging for bands like mine who don't have tons of support and tons of infrastructure to have this outlet like this. So it's really cool.
Cool.
And I applaud you for doing what you're doing because it takes a lot of effort to set this stuff up.
Yeah.
To record it, to post it, to promote it, to find new people to interview. I mean, it's a lot of work. So
thank you.
It's really cool that you're doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was hooked from the first song, Shades.
Thank you.
I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, this has got to be good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so congratulations on everything, and I wish the best.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Sure.
If all the girls are wearing headphones, how will they hear me singing Belle and Sebastian? How will they know that I mean well? How will they know? How will they know? If all the girls are wearing shades when it's not even sunny out, how will they know what I'm all about? How will they know? How will they know? They'll never know me. they can't see the way I dress. I look like a mess. They'll never see me, not even the love in my eyes. They'll never see me. I'm just a thorn in their fire. They'll never see me, not even the guitar in my hand. They'll never see me next to the bar I can't stand. If all the girls are wearing headphones and I got mine on too, how will we know what to do? How will we know? How will we know? If all the girls are wearing shades and I got my hat down low, how will we know where to go? How will we know? How will we know? We'll never know. 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 I wrote some songs for you, but you don't deserve them. You've got some masters in your life and you serve them. I'll go to Berlin and I'll chat up the frowns about the wrinkles in my life, and the brows will beat me down. I'm slipping through my life, it's not what I thought. I threw them away, the clothes that I bought. I had some promise when I was young, until I opened up my mouth and I sung a song like this. I wanna go home, but I'm already there. So where, oh where do I go now? I wanna go home, but I'm already there. So where, oh where do I go now? Where do I go now? I shared some bands with you that you don't deserve. I'd wash my hands of you if I had the nerve. I'll go to Berlin and I'll build up a wall. Things were easier before the fall. were stupid, we were dumb to think we'd be more than what we've become. It's time to rip it up, pull out the seams. It's time to give up all of our dreams. I wanna go home, but I'm already there. So where, oh where do I go now? I wanna go home, but I'm already there. So where, oh where do I go now? So where, oh where do I go now?
And there you have it. Great music from the City and Horses from the album Ruins. You just heard Berlin. Before that, you heard Shades. If you like your pop smart, I'm telling you, get the entire album. Head on over to thecityandhorses.com to get it. And I just want to applaud Marc for not only making great music, but also for his candidness and bravery in talking about his OCD. Again, the website is thecityandhorses.com. I am online in several places, talkmusictalk.com for more podcast information. I also have my own personal website, which is thisisboyce.com. You can read excerpts from the novels that I write and check out the music that I make. And I am on Instagram. You can follow me there at thisisboyce. Call to action for you. Download the TMT app. It is free for iPhone and Android. Every single episode, and you can get it wherever you like to get your apps, or you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Google Play. If you are on iTunes, it is especially helpful if you leave a rating and or review to help spread the word about TMT. You can also find the podcast on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/thisisboyce, starting with episode 100 with Carlos Dangler, FKA, Carlos D, former Interpol bassist, great band, great conversation. And at that website, SoundCloud website, you can check out my music also. Again, it is soundcloud.com/thisisboyce. And I have a back catalog suggestion for you. If you enjoy The City and Horses, I think you will also enjoy episode number 87 with Corbu. It is the band project of Jonathan Graves. Talk to him about his music. Their 2016 album, Crayon Soul, one of my absolute favorite albums of last year. It is amazing. You will hear a track from it. Great conversation with Jonathan. That's episode number 87. And a shout out to Jonathan and also Amanda and Todd, who are also in Corbu with him. Thank you so much for listening. Till next time, and there will be a next time. This one's for you, Liz.